Anti-Imperialism and Mark Twain. In the New York Herald, October 16, 1900, Twain describes his transformation and political awakening in the context of the Philippine-American War from being a red-hot imperialist. I wanted the American eagle to go screaming into the Pacific. Why not spread its wings over the Philippines? I asked myself. I said to myself, here are a people who have suffered for 3 centuries. We can make them as free as ourselves, give them a government and country of their own, put a miniature of the American Constitution afloat in the Pacific, start a brand new republic to take its place among the free nations of the world. It seemed to me a great task to which we had addressed ourselves. But I have thought some more since then, and I have read carefully the Treaty of Paris, which ended the Spanish-American War, and I have seen that we do not intend to free, but to subjugate the people of the Philippines. We have gone there to conquer, not to redeem. It should, it seems to me, be our pleasure and duty to make those people free and let them deal with their own domestic questions in their own way. And so I am an anti-imperialist. I am opposed to having the eagle put its talons on any other land. Before 1899, Twain was an ardent imperialist. In the late 1860s and early 1870s, he spoke out strongly in favor of American interest in the Hawaiian island. In the middle 1890s, he explained later he was a red-hot imperialist. I wanted the American eagle to go screaming over the Pacific. He said the war with Spain in 1898 was the worst war ever fought. In 1899, he reversed course, and from 1910, soon after his return from Europe until his death in 1910. Twain was vice president of the American Anti-Imperialist League, which opposed the annexation of the Philippines by the United States and had tens of thousands of members. He wrote many political pamphlets for the organization. The incident in the Philippines, posthumously published in 1924, was in response to the Moor Crater massacre, in which 600 Moors were killed. Many of his neglected and previously uncollected writings on anti-imperialism appeared for the first time in book form in 1992. Twain was critical of imperialism in other countries as well. In Following the Equator, Twain expresses hatred and condemnation of imperialism of all stripes. He was highly critical of American imperialism, notably of Cecil Rhodes, who greatly expanded the British Empire, and of Second Leopold, King of the Belgians. King Leopold's soliloquy is a stinging political satire about his private colony, the Kong Free State. Reports of outrageous exploitation and grotesque abuses led to widespread international protest in the early 1900s. Arguably the first large-scale human rights movement. In the soliloquy, the king argues that bringing Christianity to the country outweighs a little starvation. Second Leopold's robber gatherers were tortured, maimed, and slaughtered until the moment forced Brussels to call a halt. During the Philippine-American War, Twain wrote a short pacifist story titled The War Prayer, which makes the point that humanism and Christianity's preaching of love are incompatible with the conduct of war. It was submitted to Harper's Bazaar for publication, but on March 22, 1910, the magazine rejected the story as not quite suited a woman's magazine. 8 days later, Twain wrote his friend Daniel Carter Bird, to whom he had read the story, "I don't think the prayer will be published in my town. None but the dead of are permitted to tell the truth." Because he had an exclusive contract with Harper and Brothers, Twain could not publish the war prayer elsewhere. It remained unpublished until 1923. It was republished as campaigning material by Vietnam War protesters. Twain acknowledged he originally sympathized with the more moderate guardians of the French Revolution and then shifted his sympathies to more radical sans-culottes, indeed identifying as a Marat. Twain supported the revolutionaries in Russia against the reformists, arguing that the Tsar must be got rid of by violent means because peaceful ones would not work. He summed up his views of revolutions in the following statements. "I am said to be a revolutionist in my sympathies by birth, by breeding, and by principle. I am always on the side of the revolutionist, because there never was a revolution unless there were some oppressive and intolerable conditions against which to revolute."